Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm
Hey guys, how are you?
Branch Manager of Financial Partners Credit Union, Mission Viejo branch, and with me today is my teammate, Olivia Vargas.
Hello, everyone. June is National Homeownership Month, and we are fortunate to partner with Southern California's home improvement superstar, Mike Pyle, the co-host of HGTV's Inside Out. Mike, we're so excited to chat with you. We have some really great home improvement questions for you today.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to it. See what you guys have in store for me.
So, Mike, you've been sharing great tips with our members on home improvements that can increase a home's value. And on Inside Out, you focus on improvements on the outside of the home that really transform properties to increase curb appeal, while Carmine, your co-host, focuses on the inside of the home. Was there one project in particular from season one that was your favorite?
There definitely was, and I would have to say that would be the Pasadena project. It was a super small home. It was a newlywed couple, Jamie and Kim. I don't know if you guys have seen that episode, but it was kind of a bachelor pad that he had, and might have let it go a little too long before the remodel happened. But they had a small space. It was, I would say, I think it was right around 1,000 square feet, but they had a huge yard that they had never really tapped into because it was always neglected. And what we did on the show was we created that curb appeal, that first kind of, good feeling that you get when you get up to a home. And then the backyard, we just expanded it and we created a fire pit area. We had a whole barbecue and bar area. We had a separate seating area for dining, and then another even seating area, kind of around a water feature. And we essentially just doubled the size of their home, if not tripled the size of their home, and just brought them outside to really enjoy their space and not be confined to the smaller footprint of their home.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites as well. I like that one. It was very interesting how you did all that. And then some other
that was a fun one.
Home improvements are just for fun or little aesthetic updates. And then there are some projects that actually bring a lot of added value to the home. You mentioned something about as easy as doing paint on the outside of the home and adding maybe a fire pit in the backyard. What kind of impact can these projects have on a home's value?
I mean, we don't initially think of paint, but when you think about it, it's one of the things that we might neglect, and just the facade or the exterior of the home. So yeah, a new fresh coat of paint is gonna, like I said, it's gonna make you stick out compared to your neighbors. And even a step further, you could even add like a stone accent or a wood panel accent on maybe a section of the exterior of the house to kind of create some contrast. But before you do paint, you want to make sure that you go through everything, make sure there's no rot, make sure that you're replacing any boards or siding that need to be, taken care of prior to painting. You don't want to just paint over it and, give it a little temporary band-aid. You want to actually go about it the appropriate way before you do that coat of paint.
Thanks for that, Mike. Yeah, we've got some questions from fans and our members. The first one is from Patricia M, who asks, I want to create an outdoor space, but have a very small backyard. It's pretty narrow as our house takes up most of the lot. How can I create a nice outdoor sitting area with limited space?
So I love working with small spaces. It's a good challenge for me, and you really have to get creative. And one of the things that I've found through the years is when you're limited to a small space, and you want to incorporate dining or seating around a fire pit, you want to stay away from pulling out if you use chairs everywhere, you need room to pull those chairs in and out. So you're essentially losing space. So if you do some built-in seating, at least around a portion of the dining fire pit, and seating is something where you could snug a table up to it, and you're going to gain about 2 feet because you're not pulling that chair in and out. It's a stationary seat there, and it's really going to help create, kind of a built-in, which is kind of an elevated feel, and also save that space for you.
Got it. Thanks, Mike. You got a question, right?
Yeah. And succulents are so trendy right now, which makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And I noticed you use it a lot in some of your landscaping designs. Can you give us some great pointers on how to keep them looking fresh?
Yeah, so succulents are great, and they're one of my favorite things to incorporate within my designs. But everyone, we kind of think that they take little or no maintenance, but it's actually, that's not the case, unfortunately. But a couple great tips for succulents are full sun. And you want to be mindful of that, because in extreme heat, like if you're in Arizona and you have, over 100-degree temperatures, and then if you have below temperatures as well, they're going to struggle a little bit. So they do like full sun, but especially in Southern California. So if you give them that afternoon sun, they're gonna be nice and happy. You don't want to plant them where you have morning sun. So if you plant succulents where you have morning sun, they're going to sense that afternoon sun and they're going to reach for it. So they're going to become leggy and not as compact and essentially not as attractive. Secondly, underground water. So there's a great drip system that you can use called Netafim drip, and you basically line that underneath the beds of the succulents. They don't like over the top water, because when that water sits on their petals, I guess you could say, and the sun hits them, they're going to kind of burn them up. So they want underground water and then full sun if you can, and try to stay away from that morning sunlight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We got another question from Alice. Alice, one of our members. I have a small budget, but want to upgrade my kitchen. That's more inside. I know you're outside, but I'm sure both of them are.
I can try.
But what should I focus on if I don't have the budget to update appliances?
She doesn't have the budget to update appliances. Well, if your cabinets are in good condition, you could always try to paint those instead of replacing them all, and maybe just do some new hardware. And maybe if you save a little bit of money there, you can maybe put that towards appliances in the future. Backsplash and countertops, those are something that, you can replace, usually pretty affordable. You want to make sure that those cabinets, that you're not ripping those out down the line, because you don't want to put in new countertops and then have to rip your cabinets out down the line. So you want to make sure that you can maybe paint those cabinets, replace the countertops and backsplash. New knobs and hardware would really elevate the space. And then maybe when budget allows, you can still do those appliances.
Got it. Thanks, Mike. Another question from Dan P. We just bought a house that the previous owners astroturfed in the backyard, which we want to replace with real grass. Any tips to make sure it is done properly?
To replace the artificial with real grass? So if the artificial was installed properly, what you're going to find is you're going to pull that up and you're going to find what's called as a class 2 road base. So basically it's a 3/4 inch rock and it ranges down to a dust. And the reason why they put that is it allows for proper drainage and then allows the nails to be secure when you drive in the artificial turf. So whoever is going to help you basically transition from your artificial to real grass, you need to be sure to take out that 3 to 4 inches of that class 2 road base and then bring in some good topsoil, so your grass will thrive and not struggle with that road base below it.
Interesting, because I was thinking about doing the opposite, of replacing my grass with artificial grass. You think that's a pretty good investment? Getting quotes, maybe, I don't know, 10 grand. So I have 2 kids, so I thought it was a pretty good idea.
So, I'm a huge fan of artificial turf, but in the appropriate space and in the appropriate setting. For instance, if you have pets and children, those pets will probably use the restroom on the grass. And to me, it's not a real sanitary situation. So I think like a front yard application where you're not spending as much time is appropriate. But if you don't have pets and you have kids, it works out great. Zero maintenance. It will hold a little bit of heat, but just a light hit with the garden hose and you'll be fine. But yeah, I just always want people to know that if there's dogs involved and small children, just to be aware that it will hold an odor and it is not exactly the most sanitary at times.
Sure, got it. Thanks, Mike. Lori R is asking, I have small kids and my backyard is busy. How do I create an adult space?
She has small kids and her backyard is what now?
Busy. How do I create an adult space? I think she's got a lot going on in her backyard, like a lot of things. How does she, segregate a small adult space?
This might be where that fire pit that line might come in there.
Yeah, you can kind of create a lounge area with a fire pit or a pergola with kind of an outdoor kitchen underneath it. I'd say probably 90% of my clients that I design for, they're in the same exact situation. And it's just creating a safe space for the kids and then transitioning into the adult space, and have things be kid friendly, pet friendly. So there's not anything, too pokey for the kids to hurt themselves on. And the transitions from different things like grass and decking or concrete are all very smooth and not a lot of steps to kind of even it out. But yeah, a fire pit would be a great place to start and just kind of create a conversation piece in the backyard. And I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I started my fire pit line was I just feel it just brings people together, and it's such a good statement to have in a backyard.
I totally agree. I was actually researching fire pits. I've been watching Instagram videos of people cooking with their fire pits. So I thought it was pretty cool to do that in the backyard.
Yeah, they're multi.
Exactly.
More family is always good, let me tell you. So Mary, I have another question. So Mary asked, with a little budget, limited budget, where's the best place to start a backyard and outdoor upgrades?
So again, I was a contractor for years. So I've seen, I started at the bottom digging trenches and kind of worked my way up and contracted. And now I just design and consult. And the biggest thing that I see people make the mistake of is if they have a small budget, they kind of just try to tackle it one thing at a time without a plan. Is so important, especially if you're short on budget and you want your budget to stretch out. Have that plan set in place. And if you don't have a budget, you have a plan. So you can tackle it, maybe phase it out, do it in 2 or 3 phases whenever budget allows. That's the easiest and most, you just don't want to you can go about it appropriately.
All right, thanks, Mike. I'm going to be selfish and ask the last question. We have a lot of members that have, a primary residence and also investment properties as well. So, I was thinking in the future that I will probably invest in investment property.
Okay.
I'm wondering, is for renovations for investment property, is the thought process a little different as opposed to the primary, or is it one and the same?
For an investment property, the easiest way I look at it is, and whether I'm designing landscape or whether I'm on the show with Carmine, we always put ourselves in that home, and we always design it as if it's ours. And I think if you have that mindset, you're gonna thrive in that environment. I don't like to cut corners. I don't want to get a phone call to say, hey, our floors are failing or the paint's coming off. I always go things about it one way, and that's the right way, whether it's for my home or a flip. And that would be probably my best piece of advice. Sometimes it's hard to really chew on, because when you're in investment property, you're trying to keep those numbers as low as possible. But if you want to create a brand for yourself and something that people can invest in and feel confident, I really think it's just the right way to go about it, just to do it appropriately and not cut those corners.
Totally agree, Mike. Thank you so much. Right now is a great time to make home improvements. Interest rates are low on home equity lines of credit. That money can be used to make upgrades that really make an impact, both aesthetically and when it comes time to sell. Mike, if you had to choose the top improvements, one on the inside and one on the outside, where would you suggest our members invest in upgrading to increase their home's value?
For me, and Carmine says this on the show too, and I for once I'm not going to argue with them, but the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's where we gather. It's where we have family and friends and create memories. So I feel like that if I had to choose a second one, which I'm not supposed to because you guys asked me for one, it'd be the master bed and bath. But I think first and foremost, it'd be the kitchen. And then on the landscape, again, I'd probably, curb appeal. I'm such a fan of curb appeal, as I always mention. So that's that's just first and foremost. But I feel like just creating a backyard space to really extend the home and make the home feel bigger than it actually is. I feel like you're really going to get a lot of return on your investment for that.
Got it. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we'll see you again next month on Instagram for a live chat, and we'll have some more great content coming up for our members this month, and we can't wait to see.
All right, guys.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. Make sure to sign up at fpcu.org/inside out to get Mike's tips and to be entered for our $1,000 home improvement giveaway gift card. And our contact information is below, or you can call us at 949-342-3230. Give me or Olivia a call to discuss your home improvement needs and how we can help make it happen while interest rates are still low. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you again for
Bye.
having me.
Appreciate your
See you
time.
soon.